What's going on, everybody? This is Master Pyro tapping in on Levels of Mastery. About to get started in about 5 minutes, giving everybody time to tap in, get the link going, whatnot. So we'll get started with some vibes, and then we'll get started in about 5 minutes. You can go live on IG as well. What's going on, everybody on IG, Instagram? What's up? I'm here on Levels of Mastery right here. YouTube live stream. This is where you want to go. Link is in my bio to tap into live stream. It's only going to be about maybe 5 minutes or so, and then we're going to move forward. All right. Give you guys a chance to tap in. All right. That tribe here. YouTube live stream, Levels of Mastery. Tap in. Link is in the bio. All right. Let me put that in here. Link is in the bio for live stream. All right. That's where you want to be at. It's only going to be about 5-10 minutes the most. Maybe 5, really. 10 minutes too much. Link is in the bio. Yeah. Today gonna be one of them days you want to tap in. I'm telling you, that was a mastery. Let's go. Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all for tapping in. Link is in my bio. When I turn this off on IG, link is in my bio. You'll be here on YouTube live stream. All right. That's where you really want to be at. Let's see here. Still new to this right here, so let's see how we do this. Cool. Okay. I'm excited. I'm ready to go. So this is Levels of Mastery, Master Power tapping in. This is on IMC TV. Like I said, link is in the bio. If you want to stay updated with myself on a day-to-day basis, I'll be on Master_Pyro on IG. I got some people right here on IG tapping in. Like I said, link is in the bio. Jump over here. And that's so you can stay more, in tune with what I got going on, the lifestyle, what I'm going to be speaking about today, and the art of living, which comes into the art of communication and just how you, communicate with life and so many different spectrums of that. And all this transpires not only on your day-to-day living, but it transpires in business. It transpires in, how you exchange with money, how you exchange with values, things of that nature. I'm out here in the backyard, out here in Phoenix. Show you guys a little bit. All right, this is my scene, it's my setting. Got Luna right here, and I got Prophet here, Beats here. We out here in base 5. All right, let's go ahead and get straight to it, man. So today, what I'm going to be talking about, clearing lines of communication. So basically, asking like, how do you keep communications lines clear? All right, this is very important because it's not just about, communication lines of misunderstandings. I mean, that's probably the first thing we come across when we talk about communication. Like, there's a lot of misunderstandings that come about when we're communicating because of the language we use, right? We're still stuck in some language of the past to some degree, and we got to work on, unraveling that so we can use more positive and more powerful language for the present moment and for the future. And how are you working on those communication lines? How are you working on keeping your communication line with those that's in direct communication with you on a day-to-day basis, right? Week-to-week basis. How clear are those communication lines? This is very essential to leveling up in your mastery, leveling up in your creations on a day-to-day basis. How clear are they? And we're going to get into more than just those lines. We're going to talk into how clear is the communication with you and yourself? How clear is the line of communication with you and water? How do you communicate with water? How do you communicate with food, right? What is the the relationship line with that. All right, this is something very important to look at. All right, let's tap in. Might have to relocate in about 5 minutes. I forgot I'm in Phoenix and I'm out here in the sun. So even though the weather feels amazing right now, the sun just don't forgive nobody out here in Phoenix. So I can already feel it cooking up. So I don't know how long my laptop's gonna last here. So I'm gonna just go ahead and move since I'm live streaming. Yeah, I'm gonna just put it right over there. I'm gonna do it right over there. I think it's a little bit better. Move that chair. I'm gonna go ahead and relocate because it's, like I said, I'm in Phoenix. Appreciate y'all for tapping in while I relocate real quick. Yeah, put that on here. It's better. All right, cool. So like I said, before I go forward, let me get a couple more points before I shut off Instagram, and I'm gonna give my full attention to YouTube. So how clear is your communication lines with everything around you, right? It's not just only when something is going bad, and that's the thing that I'm noticing with myself. But all this is a reflection of myself. Like sometimes I only pay attention to certain things when something is going into deep negative. And it's like, man, if I would have kept my communication line with this part of aspect in my life, whether that be money, whether that be my health, me going to the gym, me eating a certain way, me making sure I wake up at a certain time, me making sure I handle my daily routines at a orderly fashion, right? All these things make a huge difference in the quality of life. And then now we're getting more closer to where we really want to talk about here, because to the degree of the quality of your life is to the degree of the quality of relationships that's in your life. And a lot of people like to complain about, oh, these relationships are so bad or not. It's so hard to this. Okay, well, you are investing in something that's not at a high quality that they are investing in. So you have to have a clear communication line on how you want your reality to be. So this comes down to, before we point fingers at anybody outside of ourselves and say, well, they're this, they're that, first is look at our language that we're using to create the reality that we are looking to create. We got to start breaking it down to like small aspects, because it's the little details that make the bigger picture. I don't know how many times you ever seen somebody make a painting or do a drawing. It's amazing how from one line to the next line, to the next line, to the next line, to the next dot, shade, 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 shade. It's a beautiful image, but it all started from these little details. So we got to look into these little details on how we're communicating, how we're speaking, how we choose to have a flavor in our day, which is also known as attitude. Your attitude that you carry throughout your day also dictates your communication of the day, how you choose to build relationships with people dictates on the flavor of your language, right? So let's look at some points that's going to be very important to keep communication lines clear. Number one, taking accountability for your own communication. Man, I probably lost half my audience already, because how many people, it's like, it's an ego tearing thing. It's an ego killing, if you will, technique. To be able to take accountability for your communication, meaning like, hey, I said let's talk about this at this appointed time, and then that time comes up and that individual is not there. You got to take accountability of your communication and say, you know what, I said I was going to talk about this. I said I was going to address this. I said I was going to handle this situation, whether good, bad, or indifferent. I said I was going to do that. I appointed that with my communication. So for me to stay accountable for my communication, say, okay, here it is, time for me to talk about it, bring it into light, whatever that thing may be, to gain my power. This is where I have to step in as a creator, right? We all can exercise that ability to create. How much are we exercising our will to be in that creative space, that godlike space? To me, in my world, when you begin that ability or that skill, that gift, I think is more of a gift. When you begin to exercise that gift to create, you are then being godlike. So I like to see, how can I exercise that area that is available to me and every living being? How do I exercise that to the purest form? And I saw that one of the elements is, how clear are your communication lines with everything outside of who you are? Now, that's a whole nother episode on discovering the elements of who you are and what you want to, create in this lifetime. But first, we got to understand is, how are we treating things around us? How are we communicating about it? And if I could just bring your awareness to the language that you use when you speak to something or speak about something, and if you can start to measure it with plus and minus signs and start seeing like, damn, every time I speak, there's more negative than positive in my language. Man, every time I seem to think about my capability of making X amount of money or the freedom of life I want to have, for some reason, I have this negative reflection internally or projection of it. Even though I really want it so much, like I really want this shit, but for some reason that's coming about. Okay, now we need to start realizing the language. What's the communication line between self and image? Now I'm going to go ahead and Instagram, that's it for you. Go ahead and click the link in the bio. You'll land over here on YouTube and you'll tap in with us. IMC Nation, be the best, fuck the rest. All right, cool. So now that Instagram is out the way, even though they can see over here, but if you're tapped in where you need to be at, then you don't got to worry about moving around. So how you communicate with things around you is so essential, because now we're going to be able to see how in the world are we truly treating life at the closest of the fabric of it as possible. That's something that's been beginning to interest me for a while now. It's like, man, I can communicate with the fabric of life. I can be able to influence the very subtle levels of life that life is operating off of. For example, right? Like whether or not you understand gravity or, whatever other elements that makes a plane fly and things of that nature, it still exists, whether you exercise it or not, or realize it or not. It doesn't forgive nobody. So it's other things in the mental, emotional, spiritual realm that are operating, that are in play in the present moment, whether you're aware of it or not. And that's what I'm starting to see is like, man, how is it that I could be doing one thing and somebody else could be living a whole nother life experience at the same real time as me in 2023? How is it that I can't seem to experience certain things? Then you start to realize is this the language that you're using, how you're treating people around you, how you are communicating about things around you, how you choose to see life around you. You start seeing that these are the key elements that needs to be addressed. Because the more that you start to realize this, the more you start to, once again, be more in tune of how you really want to behave. You start to take out other things that's not there. When there's a problem or a misunderstanding, you actually approach it differently, knowing, consciously aware that it's just a misunderstanding. How do we find the understanding of this quote unquote issue that we're having? Now, when you start to do this, begin to treat your, like I said, you begin to treat your life differently. Every individual that's in your life, from the person that helps when you go to the gas station and you put money and they go put the gas on your tank, or when you go to the car wash, when you go get your food, when you in passing in life, how you treat those moments also dictates the quality of those that's more closer in your circle. And you start seeing that how you begin to respond is how you begin to get this response back, that is echolocation. So this is where being in communication, understanding where is the quality of your communication and how you treat everybody, or just your language. What's the relationship with your language? The language that you carry on a day-to-day basis. When you wake up in the morning, you carry a bag of language with you. It's like these select words that you just pull from. And I've been learning how to mix and match the words that I choose to walk with on a day-to-day basis, depending on what activities are in the day. Because I'm not gonna, let me just rephrase for myself, like I'm not gonna use words that don't correlate with what my activities are in the day. It wouldn't make sense for me to talk about, you know, one thing when I'm doing something else. You have to see like, okay, if I'm going to be living a certain lifestyle, it comes with a certain language. It comes with a certain quality of treating things here and there. And I'm starting to see for myself that, man, if I can just keep on staying more adamant of how I choose to talk within myself or to myself, I started seeing that automatically reflects on how I talk to those outside of myself without me having to put effort into it. Right? Because that comes to the next question. Like, man, Pyro, how do I get better with communicating with those outside of me? How do I get better at communicating with having better business or being more creative? Or how do I talk more better with my team? It all starts from you fixing and correcting the language you have within yourself, to yourself. Because then you can become more genuine. You can become more clear. Because when there's an understanding, you're coming from an innocent place of like, I'm expressing myself from a place of what I truly want to experience. Not, not feeling like you have to cut your quality of expression in, excuse me. Okay. Cut your expression in what's the word? Like basically you have to cut your expression because, it might damage something else or somebody else around you because they failed to raise up to a certain standard. So what I invite you to look at today on Levels of Mastery is that look at the standard that you have set or if you even have a standard and the language and the quality of words you choose to use on a day-to-day basis, right? Learning how to use a word over another word at a certain time to use that word. Like, for example, when you're claiming something in your life, you shouldn't be using the words if when you're claiming. The word if, in my understanding of the word if, is only used in the conception stage of an idea. When that idea is in the stage of conception or the stage of being created, if should be flying all through that world. However, when it transitions into this is a decision now, if should not be in that equation. The only symbol or word that I will want to use in that phase is when, right? Because with that, you start to guide the time into creation. So there's certain words that has to go with that. And it's not too many negative words can be in that alignment. And that's what people like to see. Because I hear people talking all the time, like, I want to do this. I want to accomplish that. I see myself doing this. I would love to do that. But then when you see the actions that they're doing and the results of those actions that they're doing and the language that they use in between time of the decision and the result that they want to do is not adding up. It's a very subtle thing to measure, but it's a crucial thing to measure. The language and the result and the activity, the language, activity, and results has to be in alignment. One cannot be off on the other. It doesn't make sense. And then again, how do I know that? Because it has to come down to the results. Results are always going to come down to whether the activities that you're choosing to invest your time in, the language you're choosing to invest your time in, the quality of how you choose to clear communication lines in your life comes down to that necessary component. 100%. It comes back down to the result. Because we're all doing what we're doing for a result. I would assume so. I would assume you're doing what you're doing because there's a result you're seeking to have. Okay. Well, if there's a time limit on certain things, or time sensitive, I should say. If something is time sensitive, which to me in my life, everything is time sensitive, then you should be carefully managing what activities are getting me way more closer to what I need to do, and not just doing it because it sounds good to do. It sounds like a good idea. Yes, a lot of things sounds good, a lot of things look good, but am I gonna get a result from doing these things? Because I can give a damn if things look good, and if I'm gonna get the result that I want. Whose judgment am I really worried about as far as how good it looks or how it sounds? Of course, we want to be creative and as aesthetic as possible. 100%. I'm not saying shortcut yourself on that. Of course not. What I would say is make sure that when you add these things up, like, come on, let's make sure it adds up and we get the damn results. If it's one thing I learned from my dad, who made it all the way to major of the U.S. Reserve Army and was a commander of USARC. Whoever knows the military terms, you understand what that is. As a man of that stature, right? The man of that caliber, one thing he always told me at the end of the day, did you get the job done? Did you get the results? Did you do what needed to be done to get the thing at hand? Because there's a trillion and billion one ways to get one thing done, right? Have a plan, be assertive, make sure you're getting results. I cannot stress that enough. There's a lot of things that could be avoided or just not even it's like obsolete. There's so many things that's like that doesn't even matter that we put so much attention on. And we have to learn how to cut these things out because it's like clutter in the mind in your communication as well. This is why communication lines get cluttered so easily. Communication lines have so much issues or so much restrictions or so much things of that nature because it's not a clear communication line. Everything outside of you is a communication line. For me wearing this ring, this jewelry, my hair, my clothes, how I speak, there's a communication line to these things. There's a relationship to these things, in other words. You only go in relation to something once you begin to communicate. This is very fascinating. The moment you communicate, there's words, there's languages, there's thoughts, there's sparks of something internally that happen for that to move or to be addressed. I'm in communication, right? I'm in communication right now with my computer to be on live stream. And how I decide to build a relationship between me and this program or this channel, this episode, is going to dictate the quality of my experience and your experience. This is why this is my actual life. I can pull from this. I can actually speak on these things that I practice on a day-to-day basis because my business depends on it. My life depends on it. My way of living, my lifestyle depends on the purity of communication with my art, first and foremost. How clear is my communication with my art? So all these things I'm asking myself and what I'm talking about, I'm just saying these things so you can reflect within yourself. Like, man, how have I been treating communications outside of myself with people? And then once you kind of get a glimpse of that, then you ask, what kind of communication have I been establishing with myself? How have I been speaking with myself? How have I been speaking with those that are in my tribe? How have I been speaking with those that I'm creating within my own tribe, right? Because like, for example, I have a tribe here at Base 5, Phoenix. Then I have my tribe of those that's associated with me, right? Those that call me their friend, or I call them my friend. That's another tribe outside of myself. So how do I choose to communicate with that dictates the quality of my life. Your network is your net worth. I believe that for sure. This is why it's important for men to be a part of a powerful tribe, because These men give you strength. Those around you either make you weaker or to give you more strength. And if you're not aware of the difference of that, because only so many people can experience that, you start to see how you can grow more in power and you can make your communication lines more clear. And that also funnels in to ethics. How clean your ethics are. How do you clean yourself within your own ethics also comes across in your communication. Because I noticed that the moment I start to do anything that is, or think of stuff or whatever, involve myself in any way that can lessen my ethics, make me feel bad, my communication is completely different. 100%. Now, once that begins to happen, that means I'm going to start to create in my life things that's not in the same alignment of my my true self, if you will. I'm starting to create things that's not in alignment of who I am. This is why lying, right? Lying clogs up your communication lines. Saying false things clog up your communication lines. Now, people might say, well, then how the hell am I supposed to make it? Am I supposed to lie? Like, I hear that a lot. The phrase that I use, I don't use fake it till you make it. I use make it till you make it. Make it till you make it. It's that simple. But people have this misconception, this idea, I got to fake something. I got to lie about something. Why? No, what it is that you're going to make what it is that you want, how you want to live, how you want to work, who you want to work with. You make that and you keep doing that until you make it in the sense of it's self-sustained. It needs time. There's a growth period. Everywhere we look in the planet Earth, every time a seed is made or is constructed, whatever word you want to use, it has a duration of time before the creation comes about. Everywhere we look, from animals to trees to plants, humans, anything that's alive, there's a duration of time for it to come in fruition, if you will. Now, as we know, in the metaphysical world, it's the same thing. Things take time to grow, some quicker than others. So this period of time of growth, if you will, is the most time we got to really harness the activities that needs to be done for it to grow. Same thing with communication, same thing with relationships. So when things are going in a negative turn, or there's a conflict, there's a problem, if it's a relationship worth keeping, like a seed, then you must do what was necessary to clear out the weeds around that communication line, because that is to your survival. That is to you to have the most highest quality lifestyle, if you will. I mean, the moment I changed my communication was the moment my lifestyle completely changed. Here I am, a kid from Florida, Tampa, Florida, that traveled all around being a military, what do they call it, military brat? I think that's the term. That has traveled so much, seen the world, and had to reestablish myself again here in Phoenix. Already having a company established in a whole nother state. What has allowed me to have that confidence to say, you know what, I'm going to uproot and go across country and recreate. A lot of that comes from a clear communication within myself and a clear communication between what I can see and conjure up and what I can create outside of myself. And I help people do that. I help small businesses. I help people create projects, because it takes that level of creation within yourself and your business and your relationships for you to establish that level of power. I exercise this gladly every day on Instagram. Gladly, I exercise that to let people know, listen, I'm obviously doing something right to be able to live this kind of lifestyle. Obviously, because I wouldn't have gotten it any other way. I lived the life of when I wasn't doing shit the right way, the results it got me. When I was all fucked up doing shit that had nothing to do with anything, I was just doing it randomly just because I don't even know how to spend my fucking time. Really, what it came down to, I had a trash ass results. I had trash ass communication. So that's why I'm speaking on today. How is the quality of communication and communication lines that you have that you exercise on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis? How good are they really? And if they're anywhere short of how you will want it to be, then I'm going to tell you, you have to look into how are you communicating with yourself? how much are you lacking within yourself in your communication, and truly exercise a better way to do that. Tapping in with IMC Nation is going to be your best bet. You're not going to, if you go anywhere else, you fucked up. I'm telling you that off rip. If you want to fix your communication, which is in turn your relationships with your environment, with your network, with your business, with your brand that you're developing, your art, I guarantee you it's going to multiply tenfold, because it's the root of spirituality. It's the root of the divine, if you ask me, because it's communication is the only thing that us humans have the ability of doing at the degree we're doing it. And the moment we exercise that, we begin to become godlike. So it's not a little thing. If you truly paid attention, anybody that has watched this video and have taken any kind of notes, I guarantee you, once you exercise this, you're going to see a better reality begin to vibrate around you. People will begin to look at you and speak to you in ways that you start to see yourself exactly how you start to see yourself. Because you're starting to remove anything that doesn't align of that vision you see for yourself. And here on Levels of Mastery, that's what I welcome everybody to realize, that you have a higher version of yourself. You have a high degree of yourself. And we're all looking for that next level of mastery within ourselves to achieve that. So once we begin to exercise that, once we begin to see that, we begin to remove all these other shit. And I'm telling you, communication is number one. You're not going to get around that. The ego got to step to the side when it's time to fix things that needs to be fixed. And you got to be able to see the height of that. You got to be able to see like, okay, I'm stuck of like, this is not what I really want to do. But I know if I do this, I'm going to be entered in the kingdom of heaven. Like, I'm going to make it. Look at this thing. This thing just flew in front of me. Landed in front of my computer. It's a little like, I don't know what this is. I'm gonna let it go though. It's something that we begin to realize that if we get out of our own way 9 times out of 10, and we actually communicate how we want to live life, we start to see that, man, we've just been going the wrong way for a long time. And it just starts now. There is no better time to do anything. The best time to start, the best time to keep going, the best time to be this and that is now, always. The worst time to go backwards, the worst time to try to second guess yourself is now. It's not tomorrow, it's not next week, it's now, because time has never changed. Man, so this has been a very powerful session for myself. I'm very glad everybody that has tapped in here on YouTube live stream, and also on the Zoom link. I appreciate you guys for tapping in. I'm gonna go ahead and close it out. If anybody has any questions or any insights, anything I spoke out, please feel free to tap in with me. If not, this is every Tuesday. Every Tuesday, Levels of Mastery, Master Pyro goes on live to talk about, things that I've accumulated in this path of IMC Nation, being an IMC monk, transitioning into a yogi, right? In my mind, I'm transitioning into a yogi as well. And there is a lot of things within myself that I have to face to begin to transition in this path that you guys see me doing. It's a lot of things that I have to acquire to begin to see that final potential of who I think I am. And there's a shit ton of things I gotta let go. Man, let me tell you, that's been the biggest thing, that sometimes it's not about what you need to acquire, because we do have a lot of things already that we have. The thing is like, we gotta let go of shit. That's really the first thing. I tell people, you want to do what? You want to learn how to do film? You want to get into the gym? You want to do this? Okay, I know all these things you're saying you want to do. Motherfucker, what do you want to let go first? Because you can't go nowhere, any step forward in this path without letting go a lot of shit, bro. A lot of shit. And if you're going to come to Master Pyro's camp, I'm going to tell you first, you got to let go of that language, my dog. Language comes first. Before you tell me about anything, let go of that weak-ass language you got. Leave that shit at the door you came in at. Because if you carry that language with you, that shit's going to weigh you down with more than any weight vest I'll put on you. I guarantee you that. If you got that shit in your mind, you cannot fly this plane, bro. And this is a key thing to understand when it comes to creating the life that you want to create for yourself. That's something I've seen within me. And I face this every day, as I'm pretty sure everybody faces this. So this is Master Power tapping in on IMC Nation, IMC TV. It's always exciting to be here. I love doing this shit every Tuesday because it helps me stay accountable on my own language, on my own path, and maybe to speak it out to the world where people start to see that, man, I'm still that kid from Puerto Rico. I'm still that kid from Tampa, Florida, that wanted to become something greater than the storyline that was given to me. And I chose to keep on going, and I chose to keep on facing any challenge. I challenge any challenge. I doubt any doubt. And I claim anything that I want to claim in this lifetime because I'm safe within my own process, the process of IMC Nation. So thank you, everybody, for tapping in. This is Master Pyro. Y'all know the fucking vibe. See you next Tuesday on Levels of Mastery. Stay tuned on Telegram for any updates. Appreciate y'all. One love.